What about second breakfast?
Time for second breakfast.
What's up, everybody? Monster here from Breakdowns for Breakfast with another exciting episode of Second Breakfast for you. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about a concert that me and friend of the show David just went to recently. Time of recording this, May 15th, 2025. It was about a week or so ago. That concert, if, spoiler alert, the shirt didn't give it away, was from the new Linkin Park tour that they are currently on. We went and saw them at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, which is where the Carolina Hurricanes play hockey. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the set list. I want to tell you about the show. We had a whole lot of fun. But before I can tell you any of that, I got to tell you the story of the tickets, because that alone is pretty fun. So I guess, okay, so let me start off by saying I think I've already made most of my feelings clear about Linkin Park and about Emily Armstrong, but just to recap all that, because we did do an episode on the new album From Zero. We did do a little extra video about Emily Armstrong in general. Hell, we've even done a Dead Sarah episode, okay? So I don't know how much more I need to talk about this woman. But what I will say is, after listening to From Zero some more, and especially after this concert, and I'll get into that here in a minute, I am on board for Emily. I think she is a great singer. I think she holds her own. I think what she does on the new album is great. Me personally, I think, honestly, From Zero is probably my third favorite Linkin Park album. Because to me, Hybrid Theory and Meteor are two of my favorite albums. They're great for me. And after that, they do some stuff here or there, like on Minutes to Midnight and The Hunting Party and Thousand Suns. Like, I've listened to all of them, like, bits and pieces, and none of them really, like, spoke to me the way those first couple records did. And for me, From Zero is as close to those first two records as I feel like they've been in a really long time. So I'm on board for Emily. I think she's really, really good, and I'll get into her some more as I go through the concert. Now, the story behind the tickets is pretty good. So my wife and I like to go to concerts, and I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and the 6-year-old is starting to enjoy going to concerts as well, which I love that. So we have been, a lot of bands announce tours all around the same time. So we were sort of debating, okay, which ones do we really want to go to? Which ones are we kind of okay missing? And the Linkin Park one was kind of an in-betweener. I wanted to see them. I have mentioned before that I have seen Linkin Park twice. I saw them in, it was 99 or 2000, and then again in 2003. So I'd seen them twice with Chester, and I loved both shows. So, but with the whole Emily thing, I was curious to see kind of what it would be like. So anyway, we decided that it just wasn't really in the cards. We financially and timing wise, it just wasn't, Okay, so fast forward a few weeks later after they announced this tour. I pick up my daughter from school, and I have it on the local rock station, and they mentioned that they are giving away tickets to the Linkin Park concert. One of those, be caller 10 and win tickets. So I tried. I think it was like caller 3 or something. And so, oh well. The next day, in the car at the same time, picking up the girl from school, and it says, be caller 10. So I called again, and I think this time I was like caller 6 or something. So this went on for like a couple more days. I'm in the car at the same time, call, whatever. And then I think it was the Wednesday or Thursday, I was caller 10, and I won 2 free tickets to the Linkin Park concert. Now, for anybody that's ever won tickets on the radio, you will know it's kind of a crapshoot. You kind of got a 50-50 chance that these tickets could be really, really good, or they're going to be really, really bad. And in my case, they were really, really bad. They were like section 330 something. They were like here's the rafters and here's the wall, and my seat is like up against it. So not great, but you know what? They were free. I'm in the door, whatever. Not going to complain about it. Now, fast forward some more to, I actually ended up going to this concert with friend of the show, David, because I'm not going to air out his business, but super long story short, I was going to go with my brother and with our crappy tickets. And David hit me up and said that the person he was going to go with ended up it not working out. They weren't going to go, so I could go with him. Now, his tickets were like section 103, 106, something of that nature. Much, much better. So anyway, I ended up, my brother couldn't end up going anyway, but I was able to get my 2 tickets to somebody else who wasn't even going to be able to go until I gave him the tickets. So it all worked out. Everybody's happy, especially me and David, because we were much, much closer. So like, if this is the stage, we were like right over here, sort of. It's kind of hard to see depth on this thing. And if you're listening, God knows what you think I'm doing. But put it this way, we were lower, much lower, fairly close to the stage at a bit of an angle, but you could see everything perfectly. They were great seats. David, shout out to you, buddy. Thank you for letting me sit there instead of literally up against the wall in the rafters. So let me tell you a little bit about this set list. Like I said, this was my 3rd time seeing them, and a lot of time has passed since Meteora came out, so I had no idea what to expect on the set list. Funny side note, this was David's first time ever seeing Linkin Park. I really do feel for him. I hate that he never got to see them with Chester, but David, to his credit, is much more of a fan of some of these later records than I am. I think we both agree that From Zero with Emily on vocals is surprisingly good. Like, it's a great album, honestly. So we were both cool with whatever they were going to play from that, but he's much more on board for like 1,000 Suns and whatever the hell else goofy pop albums they put out in the, 2015, 17, whatever. So anyway, varying degrees here, and so I was excited just to see what this was going to be like. He was excited just to see Linkin Park for the first time ever. So we get there. We're running a little bit behind, so we kind of come in the middle of the opener. The opener is a guy named Grandson. For me and David, I would say don't waste your time. It's like a slightly more upbeat Imagine Dragons or something. Live, it was a little better because he had a live band and there were some chuggy riffs. But listening to the music on like Spotify and stuff, not a fan. I don't hate it. It's just not for me. But anyway, so he gets done, all the regular stuff's happening. And they're playing music, and the music's kind of silly. I heard like Eiffel 65, and I think we heard I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt and stuff, But then they put up like a little bit of like a countdown. And of course we got nervous because last time Linkin Park did a countdown, it was a shit show. But this time they put the countdown up and they start playing The Weatherman, which is probably the biggest song Dead Sarah ever had. So we thought that was pretty funny that was sort of the like last thing that they play. So anyway, the show is broken up into these like segments. And I don't necessarily know the significance of it, but it's kind of fun because in between each one of these segments, the lights go like completely down and they have these like this laser that like shoots into the stage. That's another thing. No pyro, there was no fire, but there was tons of lasers and really cool lights and stuff. And all of that was really fun to watch. So play The Weatherman. They do their little like intro thing and they come out to Somewhere I Belong, Lying From You, and Crawling. So the first 3 songs are all off of those first 2 albums. And I was very happy about that. After that is New Divide, which, big hit. And then they played The Emptiness Machine, which is, off of the new album. So nice mix of stuff, we're the first handful of songs there. I'm all in. And the energy is great. They are having a great time. They're playing well, all in. So then Act 2 starts and kind of do the same thing. You got the laser and everything. And this is like some of this is cool. I'm not like, they play The Catalyst, then they play Burn It Down, and then they play Up From the Bottom, which is the newest single from Linkin Park. I think they're going to release at time of recording this, May 15th, 2025. I think they're going to release a bonus version of From Zero very, very soon with a couple songs. And this is one of them. And Emily actually played guitar on this one, which was kind of fun. But then they played Where Did You Go, which is not for me. It's a Fort Minor. I'm not sure if it is a Fort Minor song, but Mike rapped part of a Fort Minor verse in there. And then Waiting for the End, Castle of Glass, again, not my, favorite parts of Linkin Park, but then they played Two-Faced, which is possibly my favorite song off of From Zero. I love that song. I think the video is a lot of fun. So was very excited to hear that. So then they do this cool Joseph Hahn DJ scratch solo thing for a little bit. Colin, the drummer, is kind of playing with him. That was fun. So then they do Empty Spaces. And then they did this kind of interesting thing where they blended a song called When They Come For Me with Remember the Name by Fort Minor. So, and what was fun about this one is Mike Shinoda actually goes out into the crowd and he's kind of walking around and stuff. A really sweet fan moment. He had, at one point, walks off stage and he comes back on stage and he's got this Linkin Park hat on. And I didn't think much of it. Well, during this part when he comes out into the crowd, he actually, he goes up to a couple of younger fans in the front and he's talking to them and he takes his hat off and you can see up on the screen it's been signed by everybody in the band and he gives it to these two young girl fans in the front. And I love stuff like that. I was getting a little bit teared up during that part because I love to see that sort of thing. So then after that, what was a lot of fun is they sing Happy Birthday to Emily because the day of our show was actually Emily Armstrong's birthday. So the whole crowd, 20,000 some people singing Happy Birthday. It was pretty cool. And speaking of which, they actually, at one point in the show announced how many people in the audience is this your first time seeing Linkin Park? And I was shocked. Genuinely shocked at the amount of hands that went up. I mean, I'd have to ask David, but I would say somewhere in the 70 to 80% range, maybe even more than that. Hands straight up in the air. First time they've ever seen Linkin Park. So me personally, as someone who loved those first couple records and, a lot of their music has really meant a lot to me over the years, I was happy to see that even with kind of the history and the Emily thing being a little bit of a divisive decision, I loved seeing that so many people were excited for this because, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. We've already discussed all of this pretty thoroughly, I think, but quick sidebar. It's not like Chester got fired. It's not like they kicked him out and replaced him with Emily. Due to the circumstances, I mean, what do you expect these guys to do? And for as powerful as Chester was vocally and stage presence, this has always kind of been Mike's band. So I'm over all of that now. And if you're not, that's cool. If this whole Emily version of Linkin Park is bullshit to you, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. No problem. Me, I'm on board. So, and then to just get more on board, after they sing Happy Birthday, they play that song off of From Zero, IGYEIH. I gave you everything I had. Okay. When they play this song, Emily Armstrong, so when Mike goes down, quote unquote, into the crowd, he's up against the barricade. He's reaching his hands over. He's talking to people and stuff. He might have hopped over a little bit, but kind of near the stage. When they play this, Emily goes out into the pit. She gets over the barricade and goes 20, 30 people deep into the actual pit that was happening. And she's down there, and you could, like where we were, you could clearly see her little blonde head bobbing around all these dudes. And I mean, they're shoving her, she's shoving them back. It was like, this is cool, man. Like, it was so much fun. It was such a humbling thing to see her go down in there. And then she gets back on stage, and then they play One Step Closer. And I mean, that was dope. They brought out Grandson, which he could have stayed the hell in the back. They didn't need him for anything. But, you know, they threw down on One Step Closer. They kind of added a little extra jam to it, which I thought was a lot of fun. So now they kind of take a little bit of this like break, and they come out for the third act, and they play Lost, which was fine. Then they played Stained, which is not one of my favorites off of From Zero, but it's fine. And then they played What I've Done, which is, you know, of course they did. Then they do take another little break, and then they come out and they do Overflow and Numb, so they do this like little thing before they play Numb, where they basically tell the crowd to pick a number, and Colin plays like a drum beat intro thing to it. And, you know, just little personality things that were a lot of fun. Speaking of personality things, throughout the show, Joseph Hahn is walking around with a video camera, and sometimes that's being like broadcast like on the big screens above the stage. And so that's kind of cute and fun. I can't remember. This might have been around the time. No. Okay. So they play Numb, then they play In the End, and then they play Faint. So needless to say, the crowd is going nuts, and they take another little break. And when they come back out this time, Mike and Emily are both wearing Carolina Hurricanes jerseys. And, of course, the crowd goes absolutely bonkers. Now, if you follow Linkin Park on Instagram, they post like 5 to 10 pictures from every one of these shows. And so there's a handful of pictures from this one. And there's this super cool shot from the back of the stage out facing the crowd where Mike and Emily are standing side by side, and they have their Hurricanes jerseys on. Super dope picture. Very, very cool. Now, this set was very cool. So this is how I kept telling David, like, okay, of course they're going to play One Step Closer. Of course they're going to play Faint. You know, they're going to play the big songs off of those first couple albums. But I kept saying, I wanted to hear, like, Points of Authority or Place for My Head or something like that. And so when they come back out, they played Paper Cut. And I got chills. I was like, yes, thank you. This is exactly what I wanted here. I would have preferred Points of Authority, but I'm not going to complain. Paper Cuts is a fine second choice. So then they played From the Inside, which again is from Meteora, but just felt kind of like an odd choice, but they did it great. And then they played Heavy as the Crown, and they ended the show with Bleed It Out, which apparently, I didn't know this. David has kept up with more modern Linkin Park than I have. He said they've been ending the show with Bleed It Out for a long time. And so the crowd seemed prepared for it, and they went nuts. But I don't have Setlist FM pulled up in front of me, but I remembered looking. I want to say it was like they played for like 2.5 hours. I mean, I read you the set list. I mean, banger after banger. And they kept up a lot of energy. It was a great show. I had a really, really good time with it. And they played like 7 songs off the new record. And then like between Hybrid Theory and Meteora, like 9 or 10. So it was like, yes. And then like 1 song from 1,000 Suns, 1 song from Hunting Party, which and then, you know, the 2 Transformers songs. So it was like, yeah, that's what I wanted. So for me, I had a great time. I'm not going to sit here and debate the whole Emily thing anymore. I'm past all that. All I'm going to say is I was super glad I went. They put on a hell of a show. Me and David had a great time. If you're on the fence about the Emily and the new Linkin Park stuff, I think if you saw them live, a lot of that would get laid to rest. Because Emily holds her own. The band is having a great time. They sound great. There was a couple of technical difficulty things. At one point, Mike was playing guitar and his guitar cut out on him, and he's all smiles, fixing it, running around. I mean, it was a really, really good show. So just wanted to tell everybody my my Linkin Park tour story there. If you've gone to this tour, let me know what you thought. Did you have a good time? Did you think it was a good show? Are you still like Camp Chester, I refuse to accept the new Linkin Park? If that's you, that's fine. Whatever you're into. But yeah, for me and my buddy David, we had a blast. I would recommend seeing them live. If you haven't, give Emily a chance, man. She's pretty dope. So anyway, Monster here signing off. Thanks for hanging out with me for another second breakfast, and have a good day.